Hey, Eva.
Fingers? What about that rucksack? It's shoved in your mouth to say up, but I don't think it's big enough.
Can you hear me?
Very good. The ground it occupies has been home to my people for at least 22,000 years.
We're on secret land.
Can you hear me?
That's right.
No, Brett. Excuse me.
Kid,
Good news. Turns out Helio.
I can't hear Marlon.
Rumor has is some serious repair work. The rocket's defective.
Me too.
No, this is their plan. What? Nero.
How about now?
From Heliogen.
It's not far outside the park, Bet.
You still can't hear me?
You good?
No, I cannot hear Marlon, but he could hear me.
Oh, you can.
He could hear me,
I can hear you.
but I cannot hear him.
Yes, you can. I just heard him.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, yes.
Yeah, okay, good.
Are you at home?
Yeah. Why?
Oh, okay.
I
It's
rotated
just
my
that
table.
before you. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I used to look at your
before I
bodies and your butt.
It was like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just rotated the table.
Okay.
So I forgot my files at the office. Oh, are you still there? You froze. I don't know if you can hear me, but you froze.
Yeah, I can hear you just fine now. So you forgot
okay.
your file at the office?
Yeah, I forgot the files at the office and I tried to go back, but the door wouldn't open.
Oh, you know why? Because no, it shouldn't, because you and I should have 24-hour access.
That's what Jocelyn had told me, but I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
So I think I'll be okay without them, but I just would have preferred to have them.
yeah, I know. I was just thinking about that too, because my signage,
Yeah.
they only got 2 signature and 7 no response. So
Oh wow. Yeah, I think your connection might be bad because you keep freezing.
Pretty good.
okay, we're fine now.
Yeah. Also, I think there's something wrong with the city website. Because when we upload, I was looking at old agendas from last year, and when I was clicking on them, it would open today's agenda.
We have had that issue before, and I mentioned it to Amanda. I think someone was looking for the recording and they got the agenda for some other meetings. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that issue ever got resolved.
Yeah, I don't think it's a staff error. I think it's a technical issue because I can't imagine why we would accidentally upload to the wrong.
Replace it with something else.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Was it busy today?
Not really.
Oh, really? Okay.
How can you bring us out?
Is anyone else coming on? No. So I call Krista.
Oh, okay.
Oh, this is recording. Okay.
Yeah. And we got an email from Michael Johnson that was sent out to everyone regarding the roofing.
Roofing?
Yeah. Oh, and Eva, I got an email from Rick stating that he would probably not be able to make it.
So during the roll call,
Mhm.
obviously you don't need to call his name at the end. Just say noting the excuse absent of committee member Rick Chow.
Okay.
And you told Joyce, right?
I didn't get a chance to email her, no, but I will let her know when she gets here.
Okay. Marlon, since she's signing on early, you can let her know.
Yeah. Hi, Joyce, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm fine. How are you doing?
Doing well. Eva and I were just discussing that I hadn't gotten a chance to tell you, but we got an email from committee member Rick Chow saying
Yes.
he would likely not be able to make it tonight.
Oh, okay, got it. Thank you.
He said he was going to try, but fairly unlikely.
He's the only one, right?
He's the only one I heard from, yes.
Okay, great. Thanks. Turn my screen off briefly.
Okay.
Good evening, Raymond. Hi, Krista.
Hello. Sorry. I have my Post-it note on.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe it was one of those studio where they have the background, the green screen.
I'm selecting my background.
Hi, Sharon.
Hello, how's everybody?
Staying
Doing well.
dry for today, I hope.
Right.
Actually have weather. So it's just us, nobody wants to talk to us tonight.
We have a few members of the public, including applicants in the waiting room. However, I was waiting to see if all the committee members would join first.
Okay.
Okay, I'll be out for a minute.
Okay. I think we're just waiting on Vice Chair Wong.
Mullen, do you know if we have anyone for open forum tonight?
I have not received any emails or calls of someone wanting to join them.
Okay, thank you.
Where is everyone?
Okay, since it's almost 7 o'clock, I will go ahead and admit the 6 people in the waiting room. We are just waiting on Vice Chair Wong. Other than that, I think we can probably start when you're ready, Chair.
Okay, we'll wait a couple of minutes for Vice Chair Wong. Okay, is it okay if we start now? Okay, welcome to the March 3rd, 2021 Design Review Committee hearing. Normally we would start with the flag salute, but we will return to that hopefully very soon when we see each other in person and are in front of a flag. Do we have all members of the committee present right now?
I can go ahead and do a roll call if you'd like.
Okay, sure. Why don't we do a roll call?
Okay, alternate committee member Tony Chow.
Present.
Alternate committee member Rick Chow has an excused absence. Committee member McKay.
Present?
Committee member Lakon.
Present.
Committee member Chang.
Present.
Vice Chair Wong.
Present.
And Chair Batnich.
Present.
Thank you.
So before we begin with our agenda items, I'll make some comments about procedures. First, each committee member has received plans and has reviewed every item on the agenda and visited each site. The general order for the hearing each case will be as follows. The committee will ask staff any questions they may have. The chair will then ask the applicant or the applicant's representative to comment on the proposal. The hearing will then be open to the public and the chair will ask for comments for, against, or about the project. In all cases, please come forward and give your name and address. I will ask all public comments, all people here to make a public comment to kindly keep your comments limited to 5 minutes. At the conclusion of the public comments, the applicant will have a chance to respond and no further comments from the public will be accepted. The chair will then ask for comments from each of the committee members. If there is no motion for approval or denial, the DRC has the option of continuing the application to a future meeting. In the event of a denial, it is hoped that the applicant will have heard comments during the public hearing period and during deliberations that will be useful in resubmitting an application. It is important for the property owner to understand that once a project is approved by the DRC, the drawings become legal documents. If any changes are made to the project subsequent to approval without obtaining proper approval of those changes, then the property owner is in fact breaking the law. There is risk of having to change the project back to the originally approved design or paying a fine to the city of San Marino equal to the greater of 5% of the project valuation or $2,500, and then resubmitting the changes made to the project to the DRC. It is also important to understand that there is a 15-day appeal period after action has been taken for the applicant or any interested party to request the Planning Commission to review and act on the case. After all of the agenda items have been heard, 2 design review committee members will conduct the open forum. At this time, residents or their representatives may ask committee members about current or future projects relating to their property. Committee members can discuss the design with you, but cannot comment on how they might vote on the project. So since we already took roll, we will now begin with the first item on our agenda, which is design review case number DRC 20-58 and DRC 21-03, 2640 Mission Street. Could we have the staff presentation, please?
Sure. DRC 20-58 and 21-03 are proposals to make exterior modifications and install business sign to an existing commercial building located at 2640 Mission Street. Exterior modifications to the facade of the building include removing 2 rectangular windows and a display niche and replacing it with a square display window with UV tint film. The replacement window will feature the same precast concrete detail surround to match the rest of the facade. Existing metalwork found above the doorway on either side of the door will be removed and replaced with decorative metalwork. A new signage is also proposed for the building, which will measure approximately 6 square feet and will be in an antique bronze finish. Individual channel letters will be backlit. This request was continued from the previous meeting on February 3rd due to committee questions regarding the proposed UV tint film on the windows, signage, precast concrete details, and all of these details have been provided by the applicant, and the applicant is here also to answer any questions. I have also confirmed with the applicant that they are amenable to the condition to remove the UV tint film from the project. That concludes staff's presentation.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from committee members to for Mr. Cervantes? Okay, is the applicant or applicant's representative here to make any comments on the changes since we were last here?
That's me. I'm happy to comment if there's any questions. I think the main concern seems to surround the precast concrete, both matching the shape and exterior sort of age of the piece, and we're happy to do that. We haven't sourced the specific molding yet, but we can either have it custom made for us, and there are ways to age it so it's not going to look like it's brand new. You know, my intention is to have it look as if we haven't really changed much. I like the facade the way that it is. I just find it impractical for selling larger pieces of furniture in those small windows.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for the applicant's representative from committee members?
I'll give it a try. I have a couple of quick questions. To the applicant, your plan shows that you are adding some kind of metal work around the front door. Is that going to happen, or because currently the property has basically just clear glass around the front door? What is the intent of that?
We do intend to add metal surrounding the front door. There was metal there originally. As part of the remodel, it got taken down, and pending this review, we wanted to see, you know, if we get approval for it, we'll go and have it made. We just wanted to make it a little bit more stylistically updated than the dated metal work that was there.
So it will be put back, right? Basically, you'll put back the metal work then.
We will replace the metal work. It'll be different style,
Yeah.
But yes, there will be metal work.
Okay.
I have a question about that. Is the metal design that you included in the packet what you're planning to replace it with?
Yes, it's going to be in that direction. I would ask the committee's flexibility and sort of some artistic license when we finally do put the metal work in, but it's going to be that Art Deco inspired styling that you see there. It's not going to vary too much from what you see.
Okay, Committee Member Chang, did you want to continue?
One more quick question is regarding the signage. When you said the signage are backlit, this is having some kind of light in front installed between the plaster wall and the back of the letters, so at nighttime it shows the silhouette. How does that work? Can you explain to us a little bit?
So each of the letters is shaped in it's a U effectively, but it's turned upside down. So in this channel, the LED light will be inside, so that, and then it's spaced about an inch away from the wall, allowing the light to sort of escape, and it creates a halo effect.
Hmm.
The light's not going to be visible. The light source will not be visible directly from the street. It's going to be reflected off of the wall.
Okay, so you only see the silhouette then, basically.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, all right, I understand. That I don't have any further question.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. I just want to understand what we're seeing in these photographs that were submitted, I think not last time, but just this time. There is a Cartier sign. I guess that's an illustration of what the backlit sign is going to look like, correct? And then some examples of the metalwork. And then the following page has some what appears to be wood molding. Is that right?
I believe that is a precast concrete molding.
Okay.
Those are just examples of precast.
Right, but they're examples, but are, as was the question before, is this the type of metalwork that you're going to be using or metalwork design? And you said no, sort of in that vein. I just, want to have some sense of what the plan is.
Perhaps I'm confused. You were talking about there was molding. The mold that I think we had was the precast concrete, not the ironwork. There were samples of ironwork as well, but they were both photographs.
This here.
Right, that's precast concrete. So
Okay. Is there the exact type, are these exact pieces that you're using, or is this an illustration of what you're going to be using?
That's an illustration of the style of precast concrete that we'll be using.
The style of, but okay.
When you say the style of, do you mean the style of the type of concrete, the type of shape?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Because the color is certainly not corrected in an aged concrete sort of way. So I also was wondering what the illustration was illustrating exactly.
It's illustrating precast concrete. I was unable to find any photos that show what precast concrete looked like aged when you purchase it. It's going to be something that's got to be done on site with concrete staining. And there's no way to find photos of that.
Right.
And the Andaz, is that the Andaz Hotel, or what is that above that?
Forgive me, I don't recall.
This photograph above it, I'm trying to, what is that illustrating?
Planters,
Okay.
planters and the vegetation that might be in front.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I have a
Other
question.
questions? Yes, Vice Chair
Yeah,
Wong.
for the applicant, in the previous meeting, the committee talks about the importance of having the entire front facade plaster be in a uniform piece because they'll be cut off of the two windows and replaced with a bigger window and things like that. So the hues and whatnot would be very uniform. And I just want to make sure that the applicant understand that is important for the facade appearance, and that is also the intent as well.
You're saying that you'd like me to understand that the plaster on the front should be uniform in color?
That's right.
Yes. That would
Great. Thanks for the confirmation.
I also have another question, which is, will the person, I'm not sure if it's you who makes the signs or someone else. I'm guessing it might be someone else. In any case, will the sign be able to be on a timer so that it would shut off at a certain time?
I think as part of California energy usage, all things have to be on a lighting control panel, which we already do. As part of our reconstruction, we had to include a lighting control panel that shuts off all lighting. So yes.
Okay, so do you, I mean, as the applicant's representative, would you be amenable to a condition in which the light would be turned off at a certain time, for example, an hour after the close of business?
Can I ask what the purpose of that would be?
Just not to have, you know, bright lights all over the city at night.
Okay.
And a little bit of a more subtle, elegant look.
Sure. I think, however, though, I've spent some time on that street at night, and there are many, many, many bright lights that are going on. So I think mine is going to be a soft white light. I don't think there's going to be something that stands out in any way. I think it'll fit in with the current conditions.
I mean, certainly the
Point of a sign with light.
the backlighting does create a much more subtle effect. That's very true.
I think if you were to compare the brightness to the street lights and some of the things that are going on around, I'll be by far the most subtle light on the street. And for me, the point of signage is to then attract to have people know that I'm in business even when I'm not open.
Mm-hmm. So are you saying that the applicant would not be amenable to putting their sign on a timer to turn off at a certain time?
Well, you suggested 1 hour after the close of business, and I would prefer that it go a little bit later if there has to be a condition. I would prefer there not be a condition. I'm going to use my best judgment to put into the street and make sure that I'm a welcome neighbor to everybody and that I'm overall attracting and elevating the aesthetics. But if there were a requirement placed, I would prefer that it would be something a little bit later when when people aren't coming by, you know, something when they're sleeping perhaps.
Mm. We can talk about that in community member discussion. Are there any other questions for the applicant, for the applicant's representative? Okay, seeing none, we will now move on to committee member discussion. So we will go in order this time. Vice Chair Wong.
Thank you. Based on what is presented to us and the applicant's acknowledgement just a while back, I think it is my opinion that the
我已经进去了，没有放那个。
I think Marlon, you need to
Yeah, I got it.
thank you, got it, thank you. So I think the concern that were raised last time, in my opinion, have been taken care of. The molding around the new windows, the uniformity of the plaster and the painting in the front, and the antique look of the ironwork. I agree that the backlit lighting is a lot more subtle, and the size of the entire signage is quite, I'll say, subtle and subdued. So I understand this is a fairly commercial street in San Marino standard. So given there's restaurant around and other more busy places around than other commercial projects that the committee has looked at in recent months, I would say it would make sense for this location to at least have its signage lighting be consistent with the practice of the area. And I personally would not think 1 hour after sunset or close of business is necessarily a must. I think there's still business around there. And the fact that there isn't really visibility of residents at this particular segment of the city would lead me to say that I'll be happy to be a little bit more, I'll say, flexible and be in the same platform as the other members in the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee member Lakon?
Hi, thank you. I agree with Commissioner Wong, and I could support the project with the condition that was identified in the staff report for the removal of the UV film. And my one concern would be the time of the lighting. I think the halo type light is very elegant, and I think that it's not really emitting too much light, but at the same time, I don't notice a lot of light in that area of the street with other businesses. And it is fairly close to the residential area. And I think the light could stay on longer than an hour after closing. And I understand the applicant's desire to have light longer, but I don't know if lights will be intended to stay on all night long. So I think there would be a much later time, but eventually the light would go off, even if it was, I don't want to say a time, but much later than after closing, but eventually would turn off. But other than that, I could support the project.
Thank you. Committee member McKay.
Thank you. I don't differ too much from my fellow committee members. I'm a little concerned that that on the drawings, the new exterior front elevation shows a very nice design here, which I understood to be sort of what we were being presented with and what we were going to be agreeing to. But then these photographs and these examples are just, you know, the applicant's representative has noted that they're just examples and that he's looking for some flexibility on the design. So I could support the project tonight, but I think that we need some conditions. I would want the condition of the plaster in the front being uniform, and the applicant's representative has already agreed to that. Staff's condition that the UV tint film be eliminated. There's been some discussion about lighting control. And then I don't know if we want to have, I'm just suggesting this for discussion, any condition about the design being either, if not identical to, very consistent with the drawings that have been presented to us. Thank you.
Okay, I believe, okay, committee member Tony Chow.
I agree with my fellow committee members. I think my main concern is also just the consistency on the front, and maybe we can condition something on that with the plaster. I think as the example is kind of hard to imagine, and we don't have anything exact to compare to. But besides that, I think this will be appreciate the applicant providing more information, and I think this will be a big improvement once we get to put this design in place. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee member Cheng.
Yeah, I agree with most everybody's opinion, and I can go along with everything. If we were to put a condition on the signage, I would say the light to turn off after 12 midnight. It should not be on after midnight. But the whole evening hours, I don't see that to be a problem. And they may even help light up the sidewalk a little bit when people walk by. So everything else, I think the applicant understands that seeing some of the sample picture that he used, I think they understand that to keep that building facade to stay with the original character, we can just make that part of the condition that all the plaster finish to match the existing, the color, the final color of the plaster to be uniformed throughout, whether it's newly patched or existing, should be one single color throughout. And other than that, I can approve it. That would be further issue.
Thank you. So it sounds like the committee is largely in agreement about the condition, about having conditions on this project. If we were to approve it tonight, that would include no UV film or no film on the windows. That there be, that the color of the plaster finish would be uniform and one single, it would appear to be one single color. There, it seems that there is some agreement on perhaps some limitations on light, but that they be generous. I was going to suggest perhaps no light after 10 p.m. Committee member Cheng, you said perhaps after midnight. I only came up with 10 p.m. because I think this is like the kind of, I don't think any businesses can be open then. People can have loud parties then. People can't be disturbing anybody else then. So I just came up with, but I'm open on that and to whatever condition would turn the light off at some point. But I think it should be generous because of what everybody said. This is backlighting. It's very subtle. I think it should be, it shouldn't be a problem even if it is on late. So the only thing that I am concerned about, which was mentioned by Committee Member McKay, is the metal work. This committee isn't used to approving things that it hasn't seen. And we got told in the presentation that the metal work is going to be kind of like what we saw, and it's going to be kind of Art Deco, but it's going to be different. And I'm a little uncomfortable with that. I just don't know what to do about that issue. I wish that this had been kind of locked up before it got to us a second time. But I will ask for a motion.
I'll just start with the ping pong. I think I have the 10 p.m. in mind as well. I think for two reasons. A is that restaurant in San Marino don't stay until 12, and San Marino is a fairly early town anyway. So 9 or 10 would be quite reasonable and generous, yet practical. So I think 10 should be good. And this will have some indicative measure to anything going forward for the committee as well. So I think that rather than 12 is good. I'll suggest maybe on the ironwork, since there's not a big area, and maybe language like the look and the style would not deviate substantially along the line. I just want to see how the other members would see. I can imagine there will be a major overhaul, and I'm sure staff can handle that fairly easily. Add a leaf minus a leaf or two would be what I call not material. But if it's a totally different look became a coin rather than a leaf, then that is very material. So I hope that would help us as a committee to stand firm with what we have been practicing so far.
Right, yeah. I'm curious in working towards a motion that might work well and reflect the majority of the committee. Are there any other comments about potential language for the conditions?
I would suggest, if I may, maybe not substantially. I would say that it's not going to deviate in any significant fashion from the drawings that have been presented, something along those lines.
That sounds good to me.
Yep, sounds good to me too. And ultimately, this would be approved by Ms. Choi or by our staff.
Department.
Okay. Any other suggestions for the motion from committee members in terms of the language, especially about that metallic part or about the light? Okay, so since we're done with that discussion, then I will formally ask for a motion from committee members.
Let me go ahead and make a motion then. See if somebody else is, seems to doing it. I just want to check out the number. Okay, I move to approve DRC 20-58 and DRC 21-03 with the additional condition the staff report. One is that the backlit sign to be turned off no later than 10 o'clock p.m. at night. That the metal grill work to follow what was presented and the design drawing to the degree that, or to the intent of the original design drawing, and subject to planning staff's approval in conformity.
Can we say it won't deviate in any significant fashion from the design that was submitted?
That's good enough, sure. Just use those.
To be determined by staff.
To be determined, yeah, right. Or to be finally approved by staff.
Right, yes.
Okay, that's fine.
And the plaster and the UV film.
Well, the UV film is already in the staff report, and the plaster, the plaster, exterior wall plaster to be uniform in color and texture as the existing wall.
Okay. The UV film, I believe the recommendation was that we place that as a condition.
Oh, okay, then I'm sorry, then the UV film is to be eliminated. So
Yeah, no, the film on windows of any sort is to be eliminated.
Correct.
Okay.
Second
Did
that.
you guys get all of that?
I think EY is sharp enough to get all of that.
Yeah, I got
The
it.
question from the
Yes.
applicant?
The specific phrase about film of any sort, there is a security film that I was thinking about using on the large window. And it's something that goes on so that if somebody breaks the glass doesn't itself shatter so that you can reach through. Being that it's 8 foot by 8 foot, it would be possible for somebody to break it and walk in. I was anticipating using this security glass, which is a clear, or security film, which would be a clear, non-visible, wouldn't affect the tint, color, or anything on the glass. So I would ask if the word committee would allow a UV filter to be excluded specifically, but all films would preclude me from using that security film, which I would like to be able to use.
I think there's a point. I'll suggest we use language of colored and or tinted UV film, not be
Okay.
used.
Colored or tinted of any sort.
Is it okay
I
for
think
the
the
committee?
intent is not to have any
Right.
sort of tint or color.
Exactly.
That's
If
fine.
it is.
But a
if
clear
it is
film makes sense
absolutely-
security-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So any tinted or color UV film to be eliminated or to be removed from this project.
Okay.
Got it. And I think we had a second from Vice Chair Wong. Is that correct?
Correct.
Second film that is colorless, right? No color.
Yeah, no colored or tinted UV film is what I got.
The window tinted UV film is eliminated.
Correct.
The door film that he's talking about for security purpose, which to be no color, it should be just a clear film. If I hear that correctly from Mr. Hollis, right? That would be acceptable for security purpose. So my condition will be just to eliminate that UV color tinted film on the window, on the newly installed window.
Got it.
Is that clear?
Yeah.
That's clear, right? Okay.
I want to clarify, Mr. Hollis, is the concern on the window or on the door glass or both that you want to put a security film?
I was speaking specifically to the window. The door is a little bit less of a concern. I just thought that large window might seem inviting to somebody.
So how would that work then? In other words, it'd be a colorless film?
Yeah, you wouldn't see it at all. It really is just a clear, perfectly clear glass or perfectly clear film that goes on top of it, like as clear as saran wrap or something along those lines.
Okay, I don't know how the rest of the,
No color or color tint or anything.
Yeah.
I think there are probably plenty of windows out in the world that have it, and you would never have noticed. I just, because it said specifically any film, I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't precluded from using that.
all right, if that is the case, then I would say that the condition is that you are allowed to put that in, but as soon as that film start peeling off or showing kind of bubble, it needs to be replaced.
That would be something I'd want to do anyway, but yes, I understand.
Okay, so in other words, if you were to allow that at all, if there's any signs of peeling off or bubbling, since it's the north-facing window, you're not going to have that much problem besides sunlight and that kind of thing or heat buildup. So it should last for a while, for a long time. But if it does, one of the conditions you need to replace it and repair it. Okay, so that would be my condition of allowing a non-color film for security purpose, with the condition that any bubbling or separation from the window glass itself, then it's the applicant's responsibility to replace that as soon as possible.
Okay, so I believe now we have a motion that has been completed, and since there has been a minor change, I think Vice Chair Wong, are you
A second.
seconding the motion?
Yeah.
Okay, so now could we have the roll call?
Sure. Committee Member McKay,
Yes.
Committee Member Lakon,
Yes.
Committee Member Chang,
Yes.
Vice Chair Wong,
Yes.
and Chair Batnich.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. So we now move on to the second item on our agenda, design review case number DRC 21-11, 2010 Huntington Drive. And could we have the staff report, please?
Yes, thank you, Chair. The applicant requests to install signage for a new business known as Mathnasium. The signage program involves one illuminated wall sign facing Huntington Drive and one acrylic letter sign facing the back parking lot. The project site is next door to the Cal Oak Pharmacy, which is the adjacent tenant of the same building. The proposed sign program is consistent in sign type, location, and material as the adjacent neighbor. Staff is able to make the compatibility finding for the proposed signage with the recommended conditions stated in the staff report. Those are limiting the signage size to approximately half of what you're seeing on the plans. And that is based on the municipal code requirement. Those are the maximum allowance. The second condition has to do with the lighting of the signage facing Huntington Drive. Staff is recommending that the sign lighting type to be backlit, which has been the typical lighting style that this committee has been requesting of the applicant in recent months. And finally, staff is wanting to make sure that the sign facing Huntington Drive will be centered on the building's facade or the business facade, I should say. And I understand that the committee also has a desire to impose perhaps timing or a timer on signage projects. And the committee, although it's not provided in the staff report, the committee can certainly discuss and include that as a recommendation as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Choi from committee members?
Maybe I can ask staff, and if you do not have the answer, then we can ask the applicant. It's regarding the black portion where it says the Math Learning Center. I see the letters are 7 inches and there is a 12.5-inch black box. Does that meant to be a box sign in the bottom? Do you know?
The applicant and the sign contractor are both on the meeting, and he will be able to answer that for you.
I think we need to ask that because I need to know exactly what goes in there.
Yeah, Mr. Chen, so it's a pan channel box. It's made the same way the channel letters are, LEDs inside with a 5-inch return with a trim cap around it. So that it's LED illuminated. So the only things that will light up it will be the math learning center in white and red. It's not typically, it's not a box sign. It's similar to it though. It's like a pan channel logo. It's an acrylic face.
So the black portion that you see is acrylic black acrylic.
It's okay. So it's a white acrylic with a black vinyl.
White acrylic with a black.
Vinyl. And then so the
during
letters
the
are.
During the day, what color do you see?
It's gonna be black. It's gonna be black day and night.
So at nighttime, you don't see that. You do see a black acrylic panel with the letters cut into it. So you see the white letter against a black panel.
Yeah, it's a white acrylic with black vinyl, with a black vinyl background, and the letters are cut out so you can see the letters light up only and not the black portion of it.
Oh, you cut out the letter, meaning that it is a vinyl. You cut out the vinyl letter.
Yes.
On the okay.
On
so
the white acrylic.
you
Yeah.
allow the light to come through.
Exactly.
How do you get the red math in there then?
We'll use red vinyl on that.
On the middle portion.
We'll overlay red vinyl on top of that.
I see. Okay. All right. Well, maybe that's fine. This is the time with asking staff. So thanks for the information. I'll ask you other things later on, maybe over the portion. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions for Ms. Choi from committee members?
Ms. Choi, do we have jurisdiction over any other signage on this property? When I was inspecting the property, I noticed that the times of operation was lit up on the front of the property. The times that it's open appeared to be lit up. And I don't think I've seen that. I certainly went around the block a few times and I didn't see it anywhere else on the block. I don't know that I've seen that anywhere in the city.
In terms of sign that involve moving parts or alternating colors, those are signage that the municipal codes specifically prohibit. And staff will inform the applicant to remove that function on his signage. We typically do allow business owner to post signage that provide direction or information to customer about the business, such as an open signs or directional signage, without counting that particular sign as part of the sign allowance on the business. So the open sign is acceptable, but in this particular case, the part that has an alternating color or movement, that will be something that staff will be addressing with the applicants tomorrow.
I just want to make sure that, did you notice it? Or I just want to make sure that we're talking about the same thing. It's not an open closed sign. It appeared to be, from what I could tell, and we can discuss it further with the applicant, but I wanted to see if this was within the committee's jurisdiction. It appeared to be, Monday open these hours, Tuesday open these hours, and it appeared to be lit up with red. And I've never seen that before.
This particular issue was brought to my attention earlier today by another committee member.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a
So it
question
is
for
within our
Ms. Choi.
jurisdiction to discuss tonight.
Okay, committee member Wong, did you have a question?
Yeah, I want to make sure Committee Member Kay is finished with her question first. I can wait.
I just wanted to confirm we can address that tonight. The committee can address that tonight. Is that correct?
Yes, if you wish to, and you can certainly impose conditions such as the signage on the property shall adhere to all municipal codes requirement and any potential violations shall be mitigated immediately.
Okay.
Yes.
It's already up. Thank you.
Okay.
So Ms. Choi, can you confirm now the reduced sign footage is from 45 square foot into what now?
So the wall sign facing Huntington Drive
Huntington.
will be reduced to 20 square feet maximum.
Okay,
And the secondary signage, which is afforded to businesses that have a second exit or entrance open to the customer during business hour, would be 50% of what the primary signage is allowed. In this case, it will be 10 square feet.
right. And as a follow-up question, Ms. Choi, the only part that is going to be lit up in the Huntington facing side is the blackened area saying the Math Learning Center, not the Magnesium, correct?
My understanding that the entire sign, the Magnesium name and the black part that say Learning Center are both illuminated.
Okay, I would have to check with the applicant to be sure, but thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions for Ms. Choi? Okay, seeing none, let's, is the applicant present?
Yes.
Would the applicant, okay, would you, I know we already heard from you a little bit, but would you like to say anything else about
Yes,
the proposal?
to confirm what Peter was talking about, yes, so the word Mathnasium is also lit up, the whole sign. When we were talking about the black portion, we were just saying that the black part of it is not gonna light up. Just everything that's white and red. And then also to about the type of signage, about the type of lighting, we're proposing front lit channel letters, right? And I don't know who mentioned about backlit channel letters. Hold on, give me 1 second, sorry. So the Cow Oak sign is front lit channel letters, and we're proposing the same. Also the store down the street, actually it's like a few businesses away, I think it's called Yoshida. That's also front lit. So us proposing the front lit, we're staying consistent with what's already like been approved on that street or on that within those few businesses there. So we wanted to keep it front lit.
When you, okay, let me ask you a question. When you said front lit, you really mean a LED lighted channel letter, basically.
Yes.
The whole letter is cut out in a box that raised
Yes.
up 5 inches from the wall.
Exactly.
And where's the raceway then?
There's no raceway. It's going to be directly mounted onto the wall.
So all the electrical run behind the wall?
Yes.
Okay, then the only thing that I is this the look will be quite different from what we've been approving. The way that I guess you heard the last application, which is lighted behind the letter, so you see a silhouette of the sign. In your case, the M is actually light up in white at night. The A is light up in red at night, right? So you see the actual letter. All right.
Yes.
And then, okay. You said you're adding all of that up. You're less than 20 square feet?
Well, we're going to have to make some adjustments to the plans that you guys have now. It's over.
It's way over.
Yes, it's a lot over. So we're going to reduce it to meet the requirements.
You know, did you do the sign next door? I mean, I know it's not, but the next door sign, it's just got too many letters on the signage.
And yeah, so that one,
and it's not successful at all.
I know. So that was a question I had. It seems like they used a lot of square footage for the Cow Oak sign. What was the reason why they got so much square footage?
Well, I don't think so. I think what happened is that when they got reduced by the footage, they tried to cut the letter to be a really small letter, trying to say, well, because the letter is so small, and they erase letters, they almost like 4 or 5 inches deep, and it's very unfortunate. I have to say that it's not what we want to see in the city. Right. So I'm even a little concerned about the way that when you reduce it down to 20 feet with 10 letters on just the name of the business, plus another 20 something letters that are only 7 inches, you're gonna have a bunch of little tiny letters trying to make that 20 square feet, and this may work for your signage, but it may be a little bit too much as far as the next door. The next door one is, it basically, unfortunately, to say that, I have to say it's a disaster. It's just too many letters trying to fit in that footage. They may just by calculating, see, that's just the M alone. That looks like a 12 by 12. That's 1 square foot right there, just on the M. And then the A is 36 inches. That's 3 feet tall by about 1.5 feet. That's 4.5 feet right there. So you're never going to make that 20 square feet total. By doing that, if you're keeping your same proportion, you're going to end up with a sign that is as busy as next door. Small letters, a lot of them, and just that concerns me.
Yeah, well, I've done it before. I did other mathnasiums, so there's a small. I know what size I could reduce it to get to the 24 feet. But I mean, this is the franchise requirements. That they have all these letters on there. This is their logo. So we're gonna have to make it work. What we have. We're not proposing anything like the Cal Oaks. I know that took up like the whole height, top and bottom. Yeah. So we're not gonna propose anything as busy as that. But we could also. I feel like we could make it work, and we do want to keep the front lit because the backlit it's a little bit dimmer and darker, and there's going to be family and children coming to the classes, and we want to make it nice and inviting for them, and the Yoshida down the street is also front lit, so
I have a question. I mean, just in reference to the problems that we just discussed in this, maybe like how to scale this down. I realize that you may not be able to answer this, but would that problem be solved by eliminating the secondary, the kind of tagline of the Math Learning Center? Because it seems to me that if you didn't have that, if you just had the Mathnasium, reducing the sign to the square footage would perhaps look less cluttered and more natural. Is that something that is ever done in areas where you have to have a smaller sign than what you are sometimes used to?
Not that I know of. I mean, we've done a few of them, and we've included that in all. I would have to check with the franchise, if they would allow them to take that off. But how about if? So you guys are going. The square footage is calculated like just one single box all the way around. Because how about if we I take the Math Learning Center and I box that out, whatever the square footage is, and then also for the top letters, box that out and see what the square footage is. You know what I mean? Instead of creating just a rectangle around the whole thing. And is that how you guys are calculating the square footage, just by one rectangle around the whole sign?
Ms. Choi, do you want to answer that?
Yeah.
So if it really depends on the back support of each line. So if I understand you correctly, one of the way to achieve a reduction in the square footage of the sign is to have the Mathnasium as one box, and the second tagline will be another box. But we do not take individual letters and add them up together in that calculation.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, not individual letters, but just dividing it into two different square foot, boxing out whatever square footage the Mathnasium learning or the Math Learning Center is, and then I mean the A+, if we could box that out, and then whatever the square footage is for that, and then the rest of the MHA, the rest of it, box that out, and that'll help us to achieve square footage that we wouldn't have to reduce it so much. If
I
that's
think
possible.
I was just saying that you can't box out a single letter. Did I understand that correctly?
Yes, that's correct. So in this case, for this particular sign proposal, we would consider 2 lines, the top lines and the bottom line.
Okay.
Mhm.
I think that'll help us achieve the square footage that are, more doable.
I'm not sure that would really help because even though you have the top line, magnesium, and then the second line, which is the Math Learning Center, even though you call it 2 boxes, the save that is going to be saved is not going to be substantial. We're talking about really about 20 square foot here. So I would suggest you go back with the franchisor to see if there are other alternatives. I get a sense that you may not have exhausted the options here, and sometimes less is more, because I think too many concepts on the signage is not going to get any attention at all. People just driving by and see a clump, a group of things, and then move on. They don't know what it is. So I think it's going to be an educated conversation with your team.
Okay, I think it's not gonna help significantly, but it will help a little bit doing that. And then also the franchise, they give us like a scale, like a they give us like a scale of the logo to follow. And the one that we chose here was like the second large. There's a smaller one to scale that we could go with, and I think the large A+ is like 29 inches, and the total length of the sign is like maybe, I think 10 or 12 feet, 10 or 11 feet. And the letters are still visible. I mean, they did it to scale, and they give this for all the franchise owners to follow, to scale out what size sign they could go with, you know what I mean? So choosing the smaller one and also boxing out two separate lines, I think that possibly could get us close to that 20 square feet where we need to be.
I think we are not here to help you design the signage. We have shared with you what we think.
Right.
So I think that's what we can do tonight.
Yeah, I just have one question, because on the documents that you gave us with the mock-ups, it says non-illuminated acrylic letters.
Mhm.
So I think you said that they are illuminated.
That's for the back sign.
One in the back alley.
Oh, I see. Yes, of course. Okay, makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, so the first page is front lit and thank you.
I have a couple more questions, I think, before you come back to share with us, because I want to make sure your plans are consistent. Your explanation on top says it's a 1-inch black trim cap, and then down below you are using a 3/4 inch trim cap. So do you know exactly how that letter is built? Is it 1 inch or 3/4?
Yeah, it should be 1 inch. It's just a typo. It should be 1 inch.
Yeah. So what I want to make sure is that when you go back, if you're going to come back to us after you get the 20 square feet worked out, that should be consistent, and it would be so that we know exactly what we're getting. And you already checked that you can get the electrical work behind the wall, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't want you to come back later and put that another big raceway, mount on the exterior wall, and the letters sit in front of it. Then the whole thing will fall apart.
The physical therapy and the cow oaks, they're directly mounted onto the wall, so there shouldn't be no problem with that.
All right.
I don't think that physical therapy was lit. Is that correct? That the old sign was not lit, I don't believe.
I'm not sure. It was channel letters. I assume they were lit, but the cow oaks.
I'm just hoping that you're not trying to copy that sign next door. It's so unfortunate when we see that. As a matter of fact, in the back, they also use about 4 to 5 inches raised letter in the back, which I don't think that was lit, but you see those big standing letters in the back, which I think will be a failing proposal. And yours, you're just going to cut out what is the thickness of your acrylic when you mount it on the wall? What is the thickness of that?
316.
Huh?
316. Yeah, it's like flat acrylic.
These,
Yeah.
how is that? You're going to glue it on the wall? How's that going to work? Just glue?
The silicone.
And 316 is really thin. And so have you mounted before? Though, because the wall surface is really rough.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
Well,
have, yeah.
okay. I just want to make sure that you have done it and it works. It's not as what your plan shows is a perfectly flat wall that you can get a 316 inch acrylic and it fit in perfectly. The wall itself may be off more than 316, so you're going to have some difficulty to mount it onto a rough wall and make sure it looks right. Okay.
Okay, are there any other questions for the applicant?
I have one.
Yes.
Will the lights for the main word mathnasium, it's outlined in black, but the main letter is white, is that correct?
Yes.
How will that show up? If, let's say, for instance, we were to suggest the backlit, would the letters still stay white?
No. Well,
and what color? I'm worried about the light. What light are we going to see? The white?
Yeah, it'll light up white, like a white halo. In the night, it'll just look like a dark shadow with a white halo around the letter.
If it was backlit, you would not use white anymore?
We could still use white. Like in the daytime, the letter could still be white.
You would. My internet is unstable.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're breaking up. I can hear you.
I'm having trouble with my reception. In the daytime.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
But at night, if
sorry, I'm having trouble hearing.
I'm gonna fix my connection. Go ahead.
Okay, I think she's gonna try to ask her question again when she maybe has a better connection. Are there any other questions from other committee members for the
I
applicant?
think it freed up, Chair. Oh, no, she's cutting off. No, maybe not. Okay, sorry. I do have a question while we're waiting for committee member Lakon to log back on. I just want to make sure that the applicant or the applicant's representative, Mr. Estrada, that you understand what was discussed previously with Ms. Choi in the staff discussion, that sign in the front for the times of operation is not supposed to be lit. Was that clear?
No, can you repeat that or can you clarify that again?
The point that I made when we were having discussion with staff and Ms. Choi, I thought indicated that this would maybe been discussed with the applicant as well. You currently have a sign in the front that lists the hours of operation by day, which is lit up. And I don't think that is per city code. And did you understand that?
Yeah, I understand that. I wasn't aware that there was a sign there that was lit up with the hours or what you're talking about. But I get what you're saying, but yeah.
That's how it had appeared to me when I was at the property this morning.
Yeah, I never noticed that.
Okay, well, apparently I and another committee member noticed it. And I think that, if we're headed like I think we are to a continuance, that has to be addressed, immediately.
Okay, yeah, the business owner, he's on the call right here too. I mean, he's on the Zoom meeting. So he's probably aware of that.
Hello. Hi, this is Mark Uten. I'm the business owner.
Hi, are you able to put your camera on?
I'm going to try.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you. Yeah, did you want to address the,
And any kind of open sign that we have there in front, and if it's lit, then I'm going to have my manager remove it. We did not know that it was against city code, so that would not be a problem for us to remove that sign.
okay,
And just to clarify, it's the fact that the open sign is lit. It's not necessarily the hours. We can have hours that are lit, but just not the part that says open, or is anything that is lit.
No, I've never seen a sign lit like that in any way, shape, or form. I'll defer to Ms. Choi, but it's not about the open. It's the sign that I saw said Monday and the hours of operation, and there were red dots that were lit up by day, and I've never seen a sign like that in San Marino in my recollection. In my,
you know what? It might just be because we just put that in very recently, or at least I bought it for the manager to put up, and it's possible that the hours just aren't there. So if it says Monday and it just has the colons without the yeah exactly. So someone is showing someone. It's something like that Miss Lakon is showing. So it's like an open sign with the days and the hours.
well, are you suggesting that once the hours are determined that it's not going to be lit up? I don't think it's, Ms. Choi, I don't think it's supposed to be lit up. Isn't that correct?
That will be correct, Mr. Yuton, if you can simply, when you do have the operating hours determined, you can certainly input those hours. However, the sign itself should not be illuminated.
Got it. Okay, no problem. Then we will replace the sign with something that is not illuminated.
Or if you can turn off the lighting option, that's another way to
Yeah, I
resolve
don't
the
think
issue.
I think the only way that it works is for it to light up with the hours. So we can definitely remove that and replace it with something that is not illuminated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
okay. Are there any other questions? Committee member Lakon, are you able to ask your question now? I'm not sure if she's on.
I'm on. I had some questions. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes. No, I don't. It's not going through. Okay. I had questions about the style of this. Oh, it was the color. If it was changed to backlit, would the main letter still be white?
They can be. They could
Can be, or they will be.
Well, I haven't considered changing it to backlit. That's why. So I mean, they could be, but I haven't talked to Mark or the franchise about it being changed to backlit.
But wasn't it backlit in the report from city staff, from Ms. Choi, or it was Ms. Choi? Wasn't that recommended?
Yeah, it was recommended.
Backlit?
Yeah, it was recommended. I just took it as a recommendation, but not like a must. Yeah, because the Yoshida down the street, I know that sign just got put up, and that one's front lit. It's really bright too.
Well, that used to be much smaller and more subtle, and there was a period of time that we weren't brought the signs for purview, and I think that the Yoshida sign is something that most of the residents that I know are not very fond of. I think most people prefer the smaller sign.
So are there any other questions for the applicant or applicant's representative?
If I may I just want to make one more comment to the applicant and his representative. It's a desire of the city not to use your signage for advertising purpose. I think the signage is for more wayfinding and direction though, so people will see it and they know you're there. But the whole notion of having as big a sign as possible and as bright a sign as possible and run it to around the clock, the whole evening and the whole midnight is not the desire of the city. So especially for something like your type of business, people look you up and they'll come and they will be able to find you. And during early evening hours, it gets dark early, that they can still see where you are and pick up the kids. So that's the whole intention. So if there is if it is a franchise, I'm sure they provide different options because there are similar cities that have the same ideas of signage. So San Marino want to uphold that desire of having the signage as small and as not obvious as possible. It's against advertising purpose as possible. So with that said, I'll let John, you go back and work with their approved signage or the other options. If they do allow or they do have successful backlit signs that will do the same thing, consider those. It'll probably make it a lot easier to approve. Considering that you only got about 20 square feet total in the front, and you need to work with that so that they come out to serve your purpose and also can get the approval easier. I just want to make sure that you understand that, and that will help you when you come back next time to be more successful. You got to be your 10. You got the idea, right?
Yeah,
I definitely do, and yeah, the design was not meant for advertising purposes, and I totally understand the desires of the city and the committee. So I will talk to the franchisor to see if we can modify the design. So one option is to remove the Math Learning Center second, the bottom portion. And another option is to change it from a frontlit to a backlit.
Correct.
Okay. I think the first option, I have seen other mathnasium centers where they don't have that bottom portion. So I think that would be easily approved as long as they haven't changed their rules on that. But the backlit, I don't think I've ever seen that. So, but I'm willing to ask.
Okay.
To see, and maybe this is a question I can have for John in, maybe not during this meeting, but maybe we can make the front lit signs somehow dimmer so that it's not very bright for the residents.
That would help, definitely. Thank you. You got the idea.
I do. Yes, definitely.
so just to add to that, so if it has to be front lit and we make it dimmer so it's not so bright, would you guys could take that in consideration just so that we're not wasting any time? You know what I mean? Because I mean, if it's possible, because if it's not possible, then you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, for me personally, if you take out the Math Learning Center and just have just the name of the business, and even with the A+ in red, I think that's approvable. That's something that I've seen them workable. And also, if you dim the lights to be not a bright white light, if you can dim that down a little bit to more of a warm tone, that'll work, because it only work during the late night, the early evening hours. During the day, you don't need that lit anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it, right? So
Yeah.
only in the evening hour from maybe 4:30 to about 8, 9 o'clock, and that's it. So that's pretty much what that hours would be like.
Exactly. And just to add to the physical therapy place that was there prior, their sign was lit and they still have the timer box inside the unit. So we can just hook up our sign to that timer and we'll follow any guidelines that the city has in terms of keeping the sign lit only on during certain hours.
Yeah, there will be some condition on that, but I don't know whether you want to tie in with their sign so that they all come on the same time or come off the same time.
Oh
But
no,
that-
no, no! It's not tied in with the pharmacy. It was tied. It's an existing timer that was there from the prior business.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No. So that will be part of the condition when we look at your final submission, and then we'll look at your operating hours and come up with something that is workable for you and for the citizens.
Great.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I know we've already been having some sort of discussion amongst ourselves and with the applicant kind of at the same time, but I would like to move on to committee member discussion, and perhaps we can just move through this quickly. It seems obvious that this is going to be, or it is my sense from listening to all of you that this is going to be continued. But let's just briefly go through one by one. Committee member Laycon.
I think it's frozen again. So
Oh, okay. If her screen is frozen. Oh, yes. Committee member Laycon, are you able to?
Am I on? Okay,
okay now.
I'm on. Okay. I could support a continuance. I agree with what we've been discussing as far as the size, obviously. I think it's much too large. But I really would like the applicant to try to modify the design so that it's a little more compatible with the not so much. I would love it to be more compatible with the building style, which was more Art Deco. But I've seen signs for Mathnasium at other locations, La Cañada. I've looked at other ones throughout. One in Tustin is a one on a Spanish building that's very nice. I saw another picture where they had a back one that was backlit. I've seen different size signs, and I'm hoping that the franchise is amenable to cities that have have design guidelines that we're trying to elevate the aesthetics. So I think that something that comes back that's less busy, less large, backlit, and I would prefer that little tagline removed also if that was an option. I think that the sign is also, the location is very high, and I don't notice the pharmacy sign. I notice it because it's a bunch of green and blue, but I don't really know what it says, to be honest. I've never been able to read what that, or pay attention to that sign, and I don't know what it says. And I use that pharmacy and I don't pay attention to it. I think that it's a very high area, and I think people that go by in their cars look lower. And I think that they height where they have the flu shot signs and the signs on to the right at the building on the right that has the gym and Fresh Gourmet, that eye level is much more I think people notice. I don't know yet, modified in all those ways that I have said. And then as far as the back sign, I would think it should be way smaller. Both, because of specific location, both signs are very visible from the residential area. And that's something that we really try to be careful not to impose on the residential streets. The back is very visible to the homes on Bedford, and then the one on the front is very visible to the crossing Huntington to those houses on Bedford. So the back sign, I would like it to be much lower and closer to where the entrance will be so that it will give you direction as to where to enter the building. I think that would be helpful. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh gosh, I have
the cookies.
Oh.
He happened to be coming down, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. It's 8:15."
Could we
You
have
wouldn't go
someone mute-
look at that in the
mute
other
or
room?
mute someone? Okay, Vice Chair Wong.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to say that less is more. So if the tagline is gone, it would help. But I would not say it is an either or, meaning either a frontlit or the tagline is gone, because I want the applicant to understand that the other examples they have seen around town is predated this committee, and there was history behind it. So that's why we are trying to move towards a more subdued, subtle, pathfinding, and a little bit even elegant kind of signage for the city. So I encourage you to look into what's agreeable by the franchisor and really use your imagination a little bit. I think that would help a lot. And I mean, if it's a good, facility, it's word of mouth. People would come to you, parents would come to you with the kids. Even you have the whole facade with the signage, people may not come if it's not a good, experience. So don't bet too much on the signage area per se. So yeah, please follow the department as a whole. I would just advise you at the back. I just don't want it to be flimsy. I know there's a very thin sheet of vinyl or acrylic or whatever, but I don't want it to be damaged, fall down, not sturdy, because kids can coming out. So please make sure in your next presentation, give us the assurance of that. And I would love to see examples of how signages of this brand is in reality from other locations, day and night, whatever kind of lighting you want to recommend, backlit or front lighting. So we as a committee know how exactly is that. So we don't have to vote by imagination. I think that would help a long way for you guys. I can support a continuous. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee Member McKay.
Thank you. I'm not going to reiterate what everybody's been saying. I agree with my fellow committee members. I sense that the applicant and the applicant's representative are really taking our comments to heart, and I could support a continuance if they are wanting to get this approved at the next continued hearing date. Then the lighting, size, and design considerations and concerns that we've raised need to be addressed specifically. And I trust that you're listening in good faith. And so I could support a continuance tonight. And in addition, some of the recent comments about the size and issues with the back sign and then the lit sign on the front, all of these need to be addressed so that we can comprehensively look at this. So we know that our concerns were addressed specifically and that you're set up for approval for the next hearing date. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee Member Chang.
Thank you. Yeah, I Googled the company name, and at least about 30-35 pictures came up from all different locations. And some are successful, some are not. Interesting enough, it truly is less is more. The simple, clean ones appears to be the one that just have either, there was one looks like it's in a mall and has a backlit letter. It looks really attractive. I suggest the applicant and or the representative look it up in the Google and check, look at all of those. You heard what we were talking about, and it a lot of them are approvable. A few of them are just way too basic. The more they have, the worse it gets. So you can check it out by yourself. But I am prepared for a continuance and hope they will spend some time doing the homework, come back with the correct and a approvable solution for us. So everybody will be happy then.
Thank you. Alternate committee member Tony Chow.
Yeah, I'll keep it short. I mean, I reiterate what all the other committee members said, and then also I support it for a continuance. It seems like, the applicant has good understanding now with all the feedback that you're getting. So we all want to obviously get this business up and running with the signage. So hopefully next time you come and take all these comments to heart, and hopefully it'll be a quick discussion that time. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I echo what the other committee members have said. We're not here to tell you, oh, definitely reduce the, eliminate the tagline and we will approve. We can't tell you exactly what we'll approve until we see it in front of us, but you did seem to be listening and taking what we said to heart. As Vice Chair Wong said, it's kind of a combination of different things. Like if you're going with the backlighting, it might be, you might be able to be a little bit busier on the sign otherwise, because that lighting isn't going to be so strong and so kind of in your face. On the other hand, if you did something like reducing the tagline, it might result in a cleaner, more simple, more elegant appearance. Just by doing that, we're not here to tell you what to do exactly. I will say that I also Googled mathnasium signs after committee member Lakon mentioned Tustin. That certainly had more of a look that I would expect to find in San Marino compared to a lot of the other signs that I see. Just Googling mathnasium signs in different places. So just keep those things in mind. The more natural the look, perhaps metallic letterings that are backlit rather than, brightly lit channel lettering that have a plasticky acrylic kind of look to it is, kind of more what we're looking at, more of an elegant look, more of a subtle look. But you seemed to understand what we were saying, and it seems that you will be considering that and perhaps even changing the design, from these examples of that were brought up based on what we're saying. So with that, I will ask for a motion.
I move to continue DRC case number 21-11.
Second the motion.
Okay, could we have the roll call, please?
Committee member McKay,
Yes.
committee member Lakon,
Yes.
committee member Chang,
Yes.
Vice Chair Wong,
Yes.
and Chair Batnich.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. We now move on to design review case number DRC 21-08-1045 Rosalind Road. And I'm sure we all read the staff report that this particular item, the staff is recommending us to continue, but I will just formally ask for the staff report on that before I ask for a motion to continue.
Thank you, Chair. Briefly.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Briefly, just to sum up the memo that staff issued to the committee members, staff found numerous errors on the plans submitted to staff the Thursday night prior to Friday when I have to produce the staff report to you. The timing was fairly poor and I was not able to get updated plans from the applicant. So for that reason, I am requesting that the committee continue the hearing to the March 17th meeting, which is the next design review hearing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So is it appropriate, Ms. Choi, if I just ask for a motion in this case, or do I have to go through the usual procedure of asking for the committee president?
Because staff did not produce a staff report, you can certainly ask for a motion and we can just move on to the next item. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, could I have a motion, please?
Chair, if I may, may I ask a question to staff?
Yes.
I just want to make sure when the plan comes back next time, that it is something that we can work on. Maybe staff, Ms. Choi, if I may ask you, do they now have an architect on this project now for the plans? The plan that you received, which you said was inconsistent and not ready, but I want to make sure that this is the same application we heard before with the white truck and all of that. But I want to make sure that the applicant, because I think they are on the phone right now, but I want to make sure that whatever plan they come in, it is something that this committee is ready to be able to look at and work with and act on it, rather than coming back with the same set of plan that we had before. Were you able to shed some light with us?
Yes, Committee Member Cheng, to answer your question, the first application that came before the committee, which the committee denied at the first hearing, the property owner is continuing to work with the architect that prepared the original plans for this committee. So to answer your question, no, he has not brought on any other design team as suggested by the committee last time.
I see. All right. Well, I just want to make this comment. I know we're not going to act on it, but I think if they did not take our suggestion and or comments to heart, and with the same team coming back with the same issue, I don't see how we got so many questions last time, and then based on what you have just reported, that there's so many discrepancies at this time. There's no sense to bring it back to this committee if they are not ready. I guess I just have to say that, even though the neighbors wanted to make sure get it done correctly. I think the neighbors, a few neighbors actually, in fact, had voiced a concern to myself about how are we going to deal with this particular application. So I just want to make sure that you can relate to the applicant and or their representative that what this body would expect to see when they come back in March. I guess that's my best comment and suggestions I can to help this application.
Committee member, to answer your question earlier, the applicant is not on the call tonight, and I will relay the message to the applicant tomorrow.
Oh, the applicant is on the call. Okay, good. All right, good.
Ms. Choi, along the line, I just want to be sure that you are not proposing to guarantee the case to be in this March 17 meeting unless all the material you receive been checked and consistent and is ready for discussion by this committee and be heard by the public.
So staff's recommendation is to bring the project back on March 17th, which is 2 weeks from today. And that was my instruction to the applicant to provide plans to me 1 week from today. So that way, at least I have 1 week to review the plans and provide comments. If the committee feels that you want to continue to a future date, you can certainly do that as well.
I want to clarify my thought is that if the department in a week's time does receive all the information and decide that it is ready for this committee to consider and for the public to hear the case, then of course, please bring it on. But I'm saying if there's still a lot of outstanding issues, a lot of holes, I don't want anybody to feel obliged to that March 17th day because we are not going to waste time on anything that is not ready.
Okay. So
I'm just speaking on myself, but I want to be sure the committee is of the same thought because it is always going to take a longer time to go through each case, and it is going to also taking a slot from other applicants as well that's willing to be heard.
I understand. In which case, Vice Chair, when it comes time to provide a motion, you may want to consider continuing the project to a future date. That way the committee is not committed to a set date.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions for staff about this project? Okay, seeing none, then I will ask for a motion.
I'll move to continue DRC case number 21-08 to a future date to be determined appropriate by the department.
I second the motion.
Okay, could we have the roll call?
Committee Member McKay,
Yes.
Committee Member Lakon,
Yes.
Committee Member Chang,
Yes.
Vice Chair Wong,
Yes.
and Chair Batnich.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. We now move on to design review case, the last item on our agenda, which is to design review case number DRC 21-05, 2765 Lorraine Road. Could we have the staff report, please?
Sure. Design review case number DRC 21-05 is a request to install Decra Shake XD steel roofing material in the antique chestnut color on an existing two-story home and a detached garage at 2765 Lorraine Road. This material and color has been previously approved at 2225 Hammett Road. However, it has not yet been installed. I was asked by several committee members to have a list of other homes that this material has been approved on. 2225 Hammett Road is the only one I was able to find. There are several other homes at other locations that do use steel roofing material. However, it is a different manufacturer. Those are located at 671 Winston Avenue, 1615 Waverly Road, 2695 Devonport Road, and 2240 Roanoke Road. Staff recommends continuance of this request to give the applicant additional time to consider alternative materials to be more compatible with the neighborhood. That concludes staff's presentation.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Cervantes from committee members? Okay, seeing none, is the applicant or applicant's representative here?
Hi, I'm David Ling. I'm the representative for my mom's residence in San Marino. And on the line too is Robert Lansford, the roofing contractor. So we're happy to talk to you about this. Robert, do you want to speak first or?
Yeah, if you can just, if you would like to give a very brief presentation, please go ahead.
Yeah, this is the Decra Shake XD. We actually did finish the one on Homet. That's completed. It should have been signed off today. We finished it on Monday. That was for the Pinnacle Gray. This is actually for the Chestnut. We have about 40 of these roofs in Arcadia, in the Highland Oaks area, Rancho Santa Anita, the Village. They're all the homeowners associations. It's probably the best steel product on the market. It's applied with screws, no exposed fasteners. I think it will be very compatible with this area because there's so much differentiate. Forget it. Anyway, there's so many different types of roofs in this area. You have Cedar Light across the street. You have Boral Shake, which is next to that. 3 houses down, you have Composition Asphalt. On the other side, on the north side, you have Wood Shake, Cedar Light, Composition Asphalt. So there's a wide variety of different materials in the area. I think it will be compatible.
Okay, thank you. I wasn't quite sure if the Mr. Ling, if you also wanted to say something.
Yeah, actually, on behalf of my mom, who's not able to attend, Again, she's, we've been residents of San Marino for over 40 years, and she's lived in this house for about 39 of that. And, we currently have a wood shake roof that's totally dilapidated, it's leaking, so we have a strong urgency to replace it. And we've looked at the 9 types of pre-approved lists, roof types on your list. And, we're very concerned, and I'm a landscape architect, so I'm very well aware of compatibility with design guidelines. So I'm sensitive to that as well. And I know, growing up in San Marino, that's a huge deal. So I think that, my mom's main concern is that, we have this huge liquid amber tree out in front, and they drop those little spiky balls and the leaves every year. It's a beautiful tree, but there's a lot of litter on the roof. And one thing about, the simulated wood shake roof, such as the Boreal and the Cedar Light and Da Vinci, they tend to be very fragile. I mean, in the roofing industry, those concrete tiles are called, potato chips because they break so often. So with the constant maintenance on the roof because of the tree, the gardeners will have to climb on top. So having anything like that would be, damaging to the concrete product. So that's why, and this Decra Shake XD is actually a more expensive product than the concrete shake. So we were, because of this walkability concern and also the non-combustible fire combustible concern, my mom was willing to pay more at a premium to have this top of the line metal product, which is, it's a thick rustic hand split wood shake look. So we feel it's very compatible with the neighborhood. So we hope that you would consider, especially with the over 20 metal roofs that Mr. Lansford had installed in the city of San Marino. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for the applicant or applicant's representative from committee members?
I have one for Mr. Lansford. You have presented to the committee in the past a few times, and recently you are proposing the Decra brand. So my question to you is, would that be the brand going forward, meaning the other brand would not be recommended for the most part? I just want to see what is your professional judgment of different steel core tile brands.
Well, I think this one looks a little bit better. So, the uphill battle we've been having with the Tilcor, I think this has a better opportunity to be more approved.
So you're saying Tilcor may be of a lesser desirable, in your opinion, for the city going forward?
The city's viewpoint, I think that they'll prefer more of the Decra Shake XD. As far as homeowners, it just varies homeowner to homeowner, to be quite honest with you.
Remind me, is the HomeMed location also XD product?
Which one?
The HomeMed location that you
Yes,
just
sir.
finished.
Yeah, that's the Shake XD.
Yep. Okay.
That's the Pinnacle Gray.
Got
This
it.
is the Chestnut, which is brown.
I thought you mentioned the Decra or the Tilcor is actually cheaper than other materials, but
The Tilcor is going to be cheaper, but not the Decra Shake XD. Decra Shake XD is applied with plywood. The Tilcor is not, and the price of plywood right now is about $40 a sheet.
Sorry, what do you mean by plywood?
That's the substrate that's got to go underneath it, just like you would have to have it for a cement tile roof.
Okay.
That's a 4x8 panels, OSB, Orient strata board, or plywood. That has to
Right.
go down as a decking.
Right, but the material itself is stone coated.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the material is actually apply with screws. XD just means no exposed fasteners, where the Tilcor is applied to a batten. So there's a batten that goes on top. It's like a roof on top of a roof. That's why it's a little bit cheaper. This one has to go down with the plywood, just like a cement roof would.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Chair,
So
if I may
I
ask-
have, oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Is that for me? It's okay. I'm just want to ask the roofer the same information, pretty much. So if I understand correctly, you said you have to remove the existing roof, and unless there is a plywood sub roof there, you need to put in the plywood, and then this steel material goes on top. Below the steel material, do you have the waterproofing first? How does it?
Yes, sir. Yes, it'll go down. So you have your plywood deck, you have your tech shield, whatever you'd like to put on it, your synthetic underlayment, 30-pound peel and stick. So you have an underlayment that goes on top, and then you have it applied through the underlayment to the decking.
I see. And then this go on top. And then how is that being fastened to the?
With 4 screws per panel.
Oh, so screw on.
Yes.
They overlap each other. And you
Yes,
said.
sir. They interlock.
And how is that? As I remember, the home, wasn't it the one that has the peacock problem? Wasn't the one that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The peacock problem. Yeah, there were quite a bit of them over there at that time.
We want them to try that there because they feel that that will help them. So how did that turn out? How did it come out?
We just finished it on Monday, but there were peacocks around the block when the week we were working on.
But does it look good?
I think it looks good. It's hard to see. It's 2 stories.
Did you bring us a picture?
No, I did not. I'm sorry.
I like to go see. Honestly, we were using that one as a test case for this material because I remember we had a long discussion about should we allow that to happen, and this particular owner insists on doing it because of the peacock problem.
Yes,
so we said
that's
great.
Correct.
Let's do that, and then we'd like to see it. So
you should have the 2 pictures that I brought though of this product in Chestnut. I brought it for that product. The last meeting.
Well, I want to see the one that's it's installed in San Marino and see how that looks. So I'll go with myself to take a look at it.
Sure.
I'm sorry, I have a question. I understood from staff that it has not yet been installed on Hamid.
No, it's been installed.
Yeah, I had gotten out there last week when the staff report was drafted, and at that time it had not been. I looked at the inspections and there hadn't been any. So from that I deduced that that it hadn't been installed, but I haven't gone out there this week to look.
Oh.
Yeah, I also was told in advance by staff that it had not yet been installed, and therefore, although I did drive by, as you said, it's a little bit hard to see, and I just assumed that what I was told was correct, that it hadn't indeed been installed. So to me, this is still a test case that we haven't been able to really evaluate yet because of that. I'm also wondering about a couple of other things. These are more questions, but these kinds of roofs, I've heard a little bit here and there just from doing a little research on this that, look, every roofing type has its pluses and minuses. And the minus with this one seems to be that the little stone granules seem to wear off. Some of that is a bit expected, and some of it seems like sometimes it's more than expected, and that can be an issue. And for that reason, it's not guaranteed forever because, of course, the elements and the sun and all of that kind of wears down on these grains of stone that cover the roof. So I'm just wondering about the peacocks. They really like to go and kind of they like to try to kind of peck on roofing and try to get down to see something. And I'm just wondering if that's going to be an issue on that property, but that is not really relevant to this property at hand. And I'm also wondering about the, in terms of this roofing material, from what I understand, it is more walkable than tile, but still not exactly walkable. Because from what I understand, you can only walk on a certain part of this tile. The directions for homeowners who have this this type of shake actually show you a diagram where you're only supposed to put on your foot on the bottom of each shake and not in the middle or top in order to reduce the chance of damaging the shake. So I just want to point out that there is some walkability, but perhaps not the type of walkability that is sometimes implied. If you want to respond to this or address any of this, that's fine.
Sure. As far as the granules going down, they're not put down like asphalt composition. Composition typically lasts about 27 to 30 years. They're basically put down with gasoline. This is an enamel stone that's baked on, so a completely different process. They do come with a 20-year no-fade warranty, which concrete tile doesn't. And as far as walkability, there's no comparison between walking on this and the concrete tile. You can't walk on concrete tile at all unless it's standard weight. With this product, you are correct. From the front to the middle is where you do your walking. But with the Shake XD, you can pretty much walk anywhere on it. It's probably the most popular product put down with solar, just for the walkability on it. But in comparison to like,
pardon me if I can.
I'm sorry, we're not in public comment.
Okay.
At the moment, but I assume that you are here for public comment and you are not part of the applicants or applicants
Correct.
representative.
I have no financial or otherwise or relationship interest in this.
Okay, if you don't mind, I'll get to you soon. So are there any other questions for the applicant?
I wonder, has Mr. Ling or any member of the family checked out the project at HomeEd or met with the homeowner there and see how they think about it before, or maybe other cities or projects of Mr. Landforce to have the leap of confidence on a steel product?
No, I actually have not spoken to the homeowner on HomeEd, but I know in speaking quite at length with Mr. Lansford over the past half a year, as we went through different iterations. I even communicated with Ms. Choi on this issue many months ago. And we went back and forth on different products. And I think through the method of elimination, and addressing my mother's concern, and I think we went on this. This is kind of like the last resort of options for her. So based on the samples that I've seen personally and on the website of the finished projects from Mr. Lansford, we feel pretty confident that this is the choice for us, despite of all the potential negative aspects that you guys are concerned about with aesthetics. But we are pretty confident that it will be compatible with the neighborhood. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Yes, I can remember Lakon.
Could you tell me, I was speaking with some repairmen about going on a roof of a composition shingle house that we have in my family in Pasadena. And I asked a chimney sweep and a rooter person, don't ask, to go onto the ceiling, onto the roof of the house. And they told me that if it was a steel shingle, they would not be able to go on the roof because of liability of damaging the roof, and that they would not go on it. And I don't know if is that a problem with the product that you've come across with? Is it something that needs to be considered for the homeowner, that some different workers won't be able to go on it?
I'm sorry, committee member Lakon, we just kind of lost the last
because
couple of words. Okay.
I also asked a roofing company, and they said that you have to be very careful when you walk, that they do dent. Is that something that you found with the roofs you've had installed?
That's what I had read as well. And in speaking to one person, they mentioned the same thing to me.
There's several steel products out there, and ones that are not corrugated will dent. There were 3 manufacturers, actually all 3 of them in Southern California: Metro, Girard, and Steel Rock, that were bought out by Boral. That is a non-corrugated product. Both Tilcor and Decra are corrugated, so they're about 50% stronger. If you jump up and down on it, you can dent it. The Shake XD, I actually have on my own house. You can walk all over that product. As far as not getting up on a steel roof, this is the first time I've ever heard that story. That's the case with concrete tile. I know termite companies won't warrant any damage to them. The manufacturer for concrete tile will ask that you put down 4x8 panels of walking pads. Basically, it's a polyfoam product that goes over flat roofs to walk on it, but they will not warrant damage on those. Hope that answers your question, I think.
My other question is, how easy is it to later put on solar panels if an applicant, because this roof, my understanding is stays on for 50 years. Is this an easy roof to handle solar panels?
The Tilcor and the Decra Shake are going to be more difficult because they require an underpan underneath them. As far as the Decra Shake XD, it's a lot easier because it's applied to plywood. So it'd be just like doing a concrete tile roof. You'd have to bore a hole through, you'd have to put a flashing on a boot, and then you would put the solar panel stand in.
Do solar panel companies have any issues with their contractors stepping on the roof? Or
I haven't heard of any. Just be like going on top of a concrete tile or wood shake roof. No different.
Okay, are there any other questions for the applicant from committee members?
I have one more for the Decra XD product. Mr. Lanthorpe, how would the execution schedule be like compared to other typical synthetic or wood shake or Spanish tile roofs? Would it be longer? Would it cause the neighborhood to be a bit more noisy and lengthy process?
No, actually, it'll take about a week to do this project. It's very cut up. It's not a up and down product, but it's a lot quieter actually than most installs, because you're not going to have a compressor going all day. The only time you have a compressor is to put down the 2x2 battens on the hips and ridges. The rest of the day, you just hear a little screw gun, which is really quiet. It just goes zzz, zzz, putting in the 4 screws per panel. Whereas a nail gun, when you're putting down concrete tile or wood shake, you have a pop, 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 consistently 7 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. So it's actually a lot quieter.
The 1 week is from taking down the old roof to the completion, or from putting in the wood deck foundation or sub
yeah, everything it should take about 7 days.
Okay.
Start to finish.
Okay, and any other questions for the applicant or applicant's representatives?
I have one more.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dumb question, but do you always remove the wood shingle underneath?
Yes, you have to. State law requires it. They used to allow you to go over it years ago, but you have to they require it to be removed now.
Mm-hmm. I did look at the roof that's a Tilcor on Van Dyke. It was recently installed, and where the pieces come together, there is like a looks like a tar or dark like glue. It's not material. It's like a goop where the 2 joints go together. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No. Was there a flashing or something there?
Have you? It hasn't been there that long. Have you gone to the roof since it's been completed?
No, I usually when we're done, I don't come back.
When you go to the roof when it's completed, do you always inspect it? yourself?
Yeah. I'm on the job every day,
Every day?
every day. Sometimes twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. I'm there every single day.
Okay, I don't know if you can see it. I don't have it on my computer. It's I don't know if I can see it on my phone.
Was it a valley?
No, it's where the two pieces come together to make the point. Let's see. Can you see
Wait,
it?
hold it steady, hold it steady, hold it steady. Don't move. Go up a little bit.
Yeah, there, stay there.
Do you see that?
Yeah,
It's like, and it looks like there's like all the points. They're just kind of like glue or tar or something.
it's probably caulking. It's probably caulking from underneath.
Now, is that, I don't recall them all being finished like that. So it looked it looked a little messy, to be honest. Is that something because of the shape of the roof, or is it the quality of the,
It's probably because of the way it connects. It's like if you go to a concrete tile roof and they have turrets where you're gonna see multiple areas come together, you're gonna see mud going out around the whole turret on top. It's kind of like that, where it's coming all together. If you go to different concrete tile roofs and you have multiple areas like that come together, 3 spots, then you'll see mud around that whole circular area because they have to cap that. They have to encapsulate it basically.
but on the brochures for the from the company, they don't have that look. They just have it nice, clean together.
Oh,
So
yeah. Of course, they're gonna take the easiest roofs, just like concrete tile would, just like wood shake would. They're gonna do the easiest example that they can.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, are there any other questions for the applicant's representatives? Okay, seeing none, we will now open this up to public comment. Is there anyone here to speak for, against, or about the project? I believe we
Yes.
had someone here to speak from the public.
I'm here.
Oh,
Am I
yes.
muted?
I can hear you.
You can hear me, okay.
Okay, if you would kindly keep your public comment under 5 minutes, we would much appreciate it.
Do my best. My name is Michael Johnson. I live at 1300 Bellhaven Road. And I'm just very interested in roofs. I have no other interest in the whole matter. I think stone coated steel is very good. 2 comments regarding regarding the products that kind of come up. My neighbor 2 doors down has a steel roof put on by Mr. Lansford about 7 years ago. And I was talking to her about something else the other day, and she mentioned, I don't exactly remember why, but she mentioned she liked the stone coated steel because those little stone particles do not come off, as opposed to her previous roof of composition where they do come off. And I have a composition roof and the little particles do come off. And apparently they do not with the stone coated steel. Anyway, that was one thing she liked about it. Regarding animals, the birds you heard about last month, I've also heard that a steel roof is great if you've got raccoon problems. One lady I talked to 20, 30 years ago about that, she was real happy with her steel roof because it kept the raccoons out. I want to go on with a couple other items. My whole thing is safety first. And with regard to earthquake and fire, I think steel is probably safety first. The first thing we should be concerned with. Much better than wood, and of course better than stone coated steel or composition. Composition is its best rival. The nationwide composition is the biggest seller. As far as neighborhood compatibility, we have 6 votes from the neighbors for this project, 1 against, and 3 no response. 10 of the 10 neighbors. As far as I'm concerned, that settles the compatibility issue because they voted for it. And that the neighborhood is what is supposed to be the comparison item, and the neighborhood is defined as what is it, the 2 houses on either side and then across the street and 3 houses behind, although there isn't any really behind on this particular product except one. The trend has been towards getting rid of the wood for the non-wood. I live in the next area over from this, now called San Marino Highlands somehow. And it was originally 100% wood. My own survey of walking around and looking at every roof shows that it's now about 28% wood, most of which is old and not looking so good, and it's 72% non-wood. So the trend is to get away from wood. People are voting their choices when they can. Lastly, pardon me, San Marino really does like diversity. They recently did a historical survey of about half the city was involved, and they found 251 individual houses of some particular historic value or merit. It's maybe the style of the house, or maybe who lived there in some cases. There's some Nobel Prize winners that live in the city, and politicians and so forth. Might be the particular use, or that's an antique house. Anyway, they found 251 of these houses, and also in listing them, they also identified the home styles. There are 32 different home styles. A few styles, there's only maybe 1 or 2 representatives, and some had many. But the point is, San Marino has diverse home styles all over the place. And we're not running around here wanting to tear down houses because they don't look real pretty, or don't look like the way we found it. The most fascinating name I saw in that list was that there are some storybook houses. And Coniston Place, I guess it is, which is a 2-block long street, has 5 of them. So when had to go take a look, they're very interesting. And although they're very, very different and might not be technically compatible, if one of them got put on the middle, it got magically moved over onto my street, I'd be very happy to see it. The point is, again, San Marino is very diverse. It's been said by people I respect that no 2 houses in San Marino are alike. So let's keep up with diversity and put up with a good new roof. And that's my talk.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public here to make public comment?
Yeah, hi, my name's Peng Hu. I live at 2186 Melville Drive. And I'm here not only to support the Lings, but also I too am in need of a new roof shortly and share the same concerns regarding a wood shake roof. First question is the city's preference that houses have wood shake roof? Because my understanding was from about 15 years ago that wood shake roofs were being disallowed in San Marino.
We are not, the purpose of the public comment portion is really for you to make comments about this specific proposal that is in front of us. So it's not really the time for us to answer questions, but very briefly, the city at the moment, I believe, does not allow full replacement of wood shake roofs, and I believe that the Planning Commission has been, I believe that there has been some discussion in the city about whether or not to reintroduce some type of wood shake roof replacement.
Okay,
so, but I hope that answers your questions briefly. Yeah, but if you could keep your comments to
sure.
the to the proposal at hand.
Sure. Okay, so anyways, I want to say that prior to living on Melville Drive, I lived at 1525 Bradbury Road, which is actually 8 houses north of the Ling residence. And that house had a aluminum shake roof, which was not only beautiful, but it was maintenance free and also harmonious with all the other houses in the neighborhood. And so I think there's a big advantage to the synthetic material as opposed to the wood shake roof, not only for state safety reasons, but as far as expenses, as far as the longevity, and not only that is wood shake roofs are. I currently have a wood shake roof, and I have difficulty getting the house insured because of it. So yeah, that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Are there any other members of the public here to speak for, against, or about this project?
Hi, my name is Diana Ling. I'm a resident. I'm sorry. I think I need to turn on my lights. I just want to say that I live in the house and had gone around the neighborhood and got all the signatures. And I want to stress that 9 out of 9 of my immediate neighbors signed off on it. And I show them brochures, pictures, websites, and everything. So they're well aware of what the products will look like, and they do not object to it. And I want to also stress that whatever roofing materials is out on the market, they all want to mimic or want to be like a wood product. So most of the neighbors near me, you know, what I'm trying to say is that, you know, the products that we want to put forth is compatible and it blends in with the neighborhood. And I appreciate, having lived here for 42 years almost, how the city has done such a good job to keep everything, you know, aesthetically pleasing over years and years. And that is a plus. And that's why we have lived here for so many years and continue to. So I just want to stress that, you know, it is important to know that we appreciate how things are, and we want to be the same, keep it the same, keep it going. And therefore, the products that we selected are not going to stand out at like a sore thumb. If anything, it blends in with our surroundings. So that's all I wanted to say, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Just to clarify, you are the applicant?
Yes, I'm the daughter of and the resident of this house currently.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any, so just to be clear, the applicant's portion of, I understand that there was maybe some confusion, but the applicants, the portion of the hearing where we hear from the applicants has been completed already, and we already heard public comment. Are there any other members of the public here to make any comments for, against, or about this proposal? Okay, seeing none, we will now close the public hearing and we will now move on to committee member discussion. Committee member Cheng.
Sorry, trying to unmute myself. It's always been a torn when I see and hear homeowners want to have certain products that is either too new for us to put on the pre-approved list, or is not in the market long enough for us to easily put that material to be an acceptable material. This is one of them. I remember we spent over an hour on the home talking about that peacock problem, and they come up with a very strong case, and the committee went along and wanted to see it. Evidently, they just put it up maybe this week, and we're not ready to see it yet. I definitely would like to see that personally myself and see how it looks from different angle. Some of the comments Commissioner Member McKay said that about when material comes together in a point that they don't have the solution to take care of that particular solution. Unfortunately, there is a problem that we're going to face, because no manufacturer at this point in time can come up with all conditions and come and then take care of the aesthetic value, take care of all the problem. What the question was asked earlier about the solar panels, most of the tile roof that I knew, including my own home, the tile had to be removed piece by piece for the solar panel area. Before they applied that, they put in the asphalt shingle roof, apply the panel, and then slip the tile back so it looks correct visually. But because of the fact that they really cannot apply either over on top of the concrete tile roof, and or I don't think they can apply it over the metal roof itself anyway, because the metal roof actually raised away from it, and they may have a problem on that too. And you cannot take them out piece by piece. So there are some pros and cons on every type of roof in front of us. My thinking at this point is that we are still constantly searching, especially last year we lost an entire year talking to the manufacturer's representative, bringing the actual piece in front of us so we can look at it. Doing virtually it's just almost impossible to understand how it works. So I still feel that we need more time to look at a quote unquote and a proven approvable metal roof that simulate the look of wood, which is, even though we hear from the installer and some concerned neighbors that would like to see it, I think we would do a fair help to our neighbors by allowing them something that they may be regretted later. So at this point in time, there is not enough evidence that the Ling family cannot find another workable roof that are quote unquote even more proven to be workable in the city. So I would like to continue this one until we have a better chance to look at the completed one in Homet, so we can have all the questions answered before we make a decision on this particular product, on Deco product. So that I would like to continue this myself. I don't feel comfortable to approve the way it is now without seeing one product, completed product.
Okay, thank you. Vice Chair Wong?
I agree with Mr. Chang. It is somewhat of a pity that the committee doesn't have a chance to look at the finished product and even chat with the homeowner at Homet and see how it's like, because that really was supposed to be an example, a test case for us to open our horizon of possibilities. So I'm also am not able to have enough information and confidence tonight to give this project a go ahead right away. And I'd like to see it myself on the finished product and then put everything into perspective so I can support a continue for tonight.
Thank you. Committee Member Lakon?
Oh, yeah, thank you. I agree with my fellow commissioners, and I would like to see the roof that has been applied already. And I haven't seen one that we've approved that I've gone back and looked at that I actually think is a really nice example of a substitute for wood shakes. So I'm really not comfortable approving this one tonight, and I would also support a continuance. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee Member McKay?
Thank you. I 100% agree with my fellow committee members. I agree with staff that we should continue the project to allow them time, the applicant's representative time to consider an alternative, and we simply can't sight unseen just approve a material that we haven't seen as applied, and we haven't seen Homet, and frankly I'm not sure about this color either. So there just is not enough before us to be able to approve it. So I support a continuance. Thank you.
Thank you. Alternate Committee Member Tony Chow.
Tony drops out. I don't see his name.
Oh. Do we know if he's here?
I think he might be having some connection issues. Earlier, he had to rejoin, so it might be happening again.
Okay. I mean, I think that that's all right because we have the majority of our committee here and they've made their comments. So if he comes on before when I finish my comments, we can go back to him. I just want to say I agree 100% with everyone. I would like to see what we've got already installed, and perhaps we can get some other addresses to go look at nearby, perhaps North St. Gabriel or something. And so I support a continuance as well. Is Mr. Chow back on the Zoom?
No.
Doesn't look like it, no.
That's fine then. We can, I will just ask for a, I will ask for a motion. Sorry.
I'll go ahead and do that then. I move to continue design review case number DRC 21-05 to a future date when they are ready to resubmit for staff recommendation.
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay.
Okay. Committee Member McKay,
Yes.
Committee Member Lakon,
Yes.
Committee Member Chang,
Yes.
Vice Chair Wong,
Yes.
and Chair Batnich.
Yes. I'm sorry,
Motion carries.
Ms. Choi, we did not, and Mr. Zaratis, we did not specify a date of the continuation. Is that something that we need to do, or is that something that you arrange with the applicant at this point?
We can determine
Being
that with
that the motion, being that the
Go ahead, Eva.
motion was by Committee Member Chang was to bring the project back in a future date.
Correct.
That's perfectly fine. Staff will provide notices to the neighbors.
Oh, okay, thank you. So the motion carries, that's continued. I just wanted to clarify something with you, Ms. Choi and Mr. Cervantes. I thought the city council did, just to answer the question that was asked before very briefly, did the city council actually pass a measure to allow wood shake beginning, I think, this month or next month?
So the item recently went to the Planning Commission for discussion. As a matter of fact, it was a week ago, last Wednesday. The decision was to bring the item back to the Planning Commission because the Planning Commission had some question that they would like to solicit the fire chief's input on. So
Oh, I see.
they're going to have a little more discussion before Director Cervantes introduced the items to the City Council for final approval.
Oh, I see. Thank you. That answers,
You're welcome.
that answers my question, and I believe the question that one of the gentlemen here for public comment was asking. Thank you. Okay, so we our next meeting is on the 16th?
17th.
17th. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for your help and your hard work as always. And we will now adjourn the meeting until the next meeting, which is March 17th. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Night.
You.
Right.